painted canvas and lasers. I am so excited about this one. This was a recent discovery for me. You take a canvas, you throw paint down, and then the laser, depending on settings, power, speed, it removes to get these insane results. So this is going to be a tutorial walking you through all the possibilities, how to get this high resolution, great quality with a laser. This is not printing. It's not like putting ink down. It's blank canvas, paint, and then the laser, it's burning away the paint. Different layers to get like all kinds of crazy effects. So tutorial works for just about all lasers. Lots of tips throughout. Use the timestamps if so inclined. Here you go, painted canvas and lasers. All right, first things first, canvas. So lots of different types of canvases out there. All of the ones that I used here, I'll link down below all the materials. But you can go with the thinner ones. These are a lot more affordable. You can get a lot more to kind of test out. These are great for testing your experiments before doing maybe the ones that are a little bit, as they all fall down. I've got the wood on the back. This is a little bit more stretched. So with this canvas, it just already comes pre-primed. Now if you want, you can actually go ahead and do like a coat or two of white to start with, just to ensure it doesn't go through the canvas. You're gonna do some experimenting first. But with a paint, you just go here and then you just keep adding till you get a painted canvas, right? You can also add other colors, and I'll explore how do you get all these colors. I'll show you quite soon. But with the paint, you do want to consider a couple things. First up is the type of paint. So acrylic paint. I started with acrylic spray paint. Now you certainly could use just painting with a brush. That would work as well. This was just more efficient. This was one brand that I found easy to get. My recommendation, if you're doing acrylic paint, just do only acrylic paint on that canvas. Don't do like a layer of, yellow, with latex or spray paint and then acrylic. Don't mix the types of paints for a lot of reasons, but just stick with acrylic. So I got great results with the acrylic. Also, as well as, just standard spray paint, that worked well. The other thing to consider with the spray paints is don't mix like a satin or a matte paint with a glossy paint because as it's removing the layers, it might not give you the look that you're looking for. So as far as paint, let's look at some of the painting, how I prepped all these canvases. Really, the idea is once the paint's on and it's dried, you can put it right in the laser and you're good to go. But as far as how did I get all these colors, how did I get these different layers, let's kind of explore the painting process first. So to start off, I first went with acrylic paint. So here you can see laying down some acrylic. I can just do a thin coat and then, usually at least 2 coats of paint is where I recommend. If you're going to do layers, you could do, 1 coat of the gray, 2 coats of the gray, and then coat of black. There's some really cool possibilities doing some browns and like kind of grays and creams before the black. That's an option. Obviously, you can see here the blue is a great look. I do recommend your final coat to be darker colors. So you could certainly do all kinds of different colors underneath, but your final coat, doing a darker color is just going to give you better results, at least in my experience. Here I'm kind of mixing some green and blue. That's a cool thing. You can really get artsy and experiment with all kinds of different colors. So definitely do some test pieces first. So this one had a little bit of silver at the bottom to try and get a little different effect. You could do kind of like those cool YouTube videos with all those, spray paint art that look like galaxies. You can kind of get that effect like, hey, I just really want it silver right here, or I want it, blue and green here, and then, obviously, different colors after the fact. So have fun experimenting. Some of my favorite looks as far as final product was when I added a yellow or experimenting with some orange and reds, getting all kinds of colors underneath that final black layer. So here you can see some pretty crazy designs where I have all kinds of colors going. This one in particular, you can see the final product here, what I was kind of going for. So you can be pretty precise with the paint, kind of thinking about your image itself. But here you can see some of these designs before they got their black layer, and it kind of gives you an idea what it looks like. So this was that starry, galaxy. Some really cool ones if you add in a lot of different colors. All right, here is the full progression of a multi-layer colored one. So I added some yellow, now I'm adding some orange, some red, some just different colors. So this is going to give kind of that sunset with orcas. Then I'm adding some blue. This also would work if you wanted to do, like a universe or a space galaxy. This is kind of the colors that I went with. Some purple. You can add in some pink if you wanted to, but I did add some yellow in after at the end, because I really wanted to make sure more yellow and orange came through for the sunset. And this is what that final piece looked like. Here is another one where you can see it's a phoenix, and I kind of had an idea of what the image was going to look like, and so you can see where I painted prior. And a last note with painting is you definitely want to go on with thin layers and just give it time to dry in between coats. And so use whatever the directions are on the can that you're using, just to make sure it dries. It's not tacky anymore. And so once you get a layer down, just go ahead and check. If it's not tacky, then you can add another layer. But certainly check whatever directions are on your can, especially on those ones where you're building up a lot of layers. All right, images. Let's talk about where to find these images. Well, what's great is any image is going to work, and you want something high resolution. This is just an Avengers picture that I found off of a Google search, and just go ahead and download those pictures. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sell things that have IP or copyright. These are just kind of fun, but if you're going to sell things, always note copyright. But you can find any kind of image, and because these are going to be engraved like a PNG as opposed to an SVG layer, it actually picks up all the different fluctuations and nuances. Especially you can see like with the space one or the sunset here, you can get all those different colors. And so I'll get into settings in a second, but as far as pictures, you can find them just about anywhere. Some other sources for images right here. Let's check these out along with the software tutorial. All right, let's talk images and let's talk software. So we will get to the software soon. This is the XCS software from xTool. It's free, super intuitive. You can have no experience with lasers and you know what you're doing. So here are a couple images that I did through AI. Pretty cool, pretty awesome. I'll talk a little bit more about some AI ideas later. There is a built-in AI feature from xTool, and you can do all kinds of free art in here. You can use different points that you can earn through xTool. You can even generate your own laser art. So there's some really cool possibilities in here within xTool itself. Other sources for images, some of the pictures that you saw me use, I've been using Creative Fabrica a lot. So Creative Fabrica, it's not like Etsy where you're buying individual files. Instead, you're buying, you have like a license, a subscription, right? A subscription where you just download the files. And so for the cost of like one file on Etsy is maybe like $2, $2 to $3. So the cost of a couple files, pays for 1 month subscription. And anyway, I have a link down below for a free trial that includes 10 free downloads. And you might want to sign up for more. It's pretty awesome. So obviously AI graphics are really cool. I mean, these would be remarkable and would be really, really cool with the canvas. But you can just search, whatever you want, all kinds of different PNG files. You can see all kinds of different files. Let's see, anyway, lots of images. Images galore. I've used this a ton for SVG files, for engraving, fonts, but this is a great resource and it's a lot more affordable. Another one that I've used a lot is ImageR, right? So actually ImageR is a great way to adjust your photo. So if you want to do a family photo or something and you want to kind of doctor it a bit to do better, this is a great resource. But connected with it is LaserPix. And these are some free images where you can just download these images and some really, really high detail images that you've probably seen in some of my projects throughout this last year with my laser projects, and some really, really cool ones. So like this one would be really cool with lots of different the paint layers and different colors. But to the software, once you get your image, so here's my image. You want to invert that image. So I'm going to click Adjustments. I'm going to click Invert. And so what that is, this is just really what you want to do when you're engraving on something dark. So I do this with my slate coasters. It just gets a great result. And with these canvases, I'm going to be painting a black layer on top, most likely, or at least a darker color, and you're just going to get much better results. And so lots of different variations in settings. I always encourage people to test out your own files. But my favorite settings that I found using the S1, so the xTool S1 laser, specifically the 20-watt laser, I've gotten the best results, was 17 power, 125 millimeters per second, using the bitmap mode, using the bare bitmap mode. And then I've been doing, kind of fluctuating between 140 to 160 lines per centimeter. The higher the number, it's just going to be more concentrated. And so it's probably going to burn a little bit deeper, more layers. So on these types where you got like all kinds of sunset, maybe I did a layer of yellow and then orange and then purple and blue, maybe higher, but you want to test that out. So this is for the S1 20 watt. I do have, I know it says 40 watt here because it was last connected, but I do have settings for the 40 watt as well. You're definitely going to want to play around with some test files, some test settings. And so one thing you can do is you take your image like this, and then you just come on over. This is really nice that it's built into the software, material test array. Now for mine, I do not want to have power up to 100. That would be crazy. So let's just say 30 is my max power. You could adjust these a lot more, but it's going to give you some test files. Obviously, these are pretty detailed images, so sometimes the software is like, wait, there's way too much files if you go crazy with a really high resolution image. But anyway, I would run this, and then it could show me, all right, at 30 power, 10 speed, this is what it looked like, and it would go through all these. So you can certainly adjust these, but I highly recommend doing some test settings to figure it out. My best experience has been the diode on the S1. On the 20 watt and the 40 watt got great results. 10 watt would still work on this one. So if you're wanting to get a laser, just a 10 watt S1 would be great. These work on the D1 and other ones as well. I have not done this a lot on the CO2 laser. I still have to get those settings dialed in. So if you've done this and you've got settings for the P2 or other machines that you've used, drop them in the comments down below for other people who watch this video. That's the one great thing about xTool is there's so many users, and so I've gotten a lot of different settings suggested from Facebook, Facebook groups. But you can also, actually speaking of those Facebook groups, let's give a shout out to some of those right now. So here are a couple screenshots of some posts from the xTool groups that I found really helpful. So I want to give a shout out to these users who shared their settings. So here are some of the settings that they used. This particular one had the D1 Pro 20 watt with their settings and kind of how they did their color. You can kind of get an idea for it. This one has the 40 watt S1 and just kind of their settings. So definitely xTool Facebook groups. There's quite a few. There's such a wide user base for xTool. There's a lot of great settings, so definitely check that out. Helps you get started, gives you a feel, but eventually you are going to run your own test files to kind of narrow it in, like I showed in the software tutorial earlier, how to run test files, or you can do individual ones like this, where I did like individual, I tweaked them and did a label for each one to really try and dial it in on the different machines. So definitely have fun experimenting. But that cool effect that you see there with that like Kraken and all that, more images, like I said, AI. So I have this whole other video on coasters on how to get these kinds of results. All of these, well, most of these images I created with AI and then some other ideas. You can check out that coaster video for kind of the same idea where you're inverting images to get this cool effect. All right, finally time for the laser. So this was the very first one I did. I went ahead and put those 3, 2, 1 blocks in there just to keep it stationary. You could certainly use clamps. That's what I ended up moving over to, just the stock ones from the S1. But it just works. It's so easy. If you don't have a laser yet, I really love the S1. Yeah, it feels like an infomercial, but this is it's so easy. It's a perfect beginner machine. It's also really safe. So if you're looking to upgrade, xTool also has some promotions for trading in old machines to get new machines. All right, here was a fun one doing a portrait, kind of a collage style of my family, a bunch of different family pics together, and got some great results. So you could definitely do some black and white. You could do, some creams or oranges to kind of get a sepia effect. But the quality is pretty amazing. Now, obviously, you can adjust this. I did not edit this image at all. in image R, like I talked about earlier, so you can get even better results, a lot crisper. This one, has a blue one. You can't quite tell there, but it works, and so it's kind of plug and play. And some of these projects on the laser will be about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Some can be, 2 hours. Depends on the size of your canvas and the settings that you have. Again, lots of variables here. So that previously was the 20 watt S1. This is the 40 watt. I did get my best results with the 20 watt. That doesn't mean the 40 watt isn't possible. I just didn't get them as dialed in. I need to do some more experimenting, but I love my results from the 20 watt, but the 40 watt works as well. All right, once you have engraved them, once the laser has done the work, a microfiber towel, just a little bit of moisture, a little bit of wet, just to remove any of that debris. Just any kind of, paint residuals as the lasers remove some of that paint. There might be some dust left over. Just remove that. All right, here I'm adding a clear coat, just using a, Rust-Oleum, can that you got at Home Depot. Just a standard clear coat. Just did about 2 coats on each just to make sure everything stays intact. If you had a gloss before, go with gloss. If it was matte, then do a satin or a matte finish. Okay, I just had so much fun with this. I think the results are awesome. It's just so cool. And this is not printing, right? It's not ink going down. You get to experiment with the different colors, and you can get variations in colors. Just so much possibility. So you're gonna be artsy with it and kind of. This is just a cool application, and so I was so glad that I discovered this idea from those other users. But have fun with this. If you happen to do this project, make sure you comment here, share your settings and what machine you used and what your settings are to help other people as they get started. It's always cool to share those settings and pay it forward, help out the community. But man, I really want to do a lot more of the galaxy and the universe ones. I just think there's a lot of potential with all the layers of paint, but pretty fun. Well, there you have it. Lasers and painted canvas. Pretty cool, pretty cool. If this video provided value for you, please consider subscribing to see more videos like this. This last year, I've done all kinds of projects with lasers. Obviously, this is canvas. This is a wood shop. I am a woodworker. I love to work with all kinds of different woods, but there's other applications. And so lasers can do so much. And this is just one of those ideas. And if you're new to lasers, I do highly recommend xTool. Now, obviously, I've gotten xTool machines in exchange for making videos. I do have an affiliate link for purchasing them, where a small portion of each sale comes back to us to help support the channel. However, xTool, it is an amazing company. Great customer service, very innovative, coming out with new ideas and designs all the time. One of the things specifically is this video. This video is possible because of the wide user base. There's a lot of different Facebook groups for the different xTool machines or just xTool in general. And I saw this idea on Facebook and was like, let me explore that. And so there's such a wide user base worldwide of the xTool machine. You'll get settings, lots of tips, a lot of support from other folks. Lots of project ideas. The machines themselves, they're just really well built. They're fantastic. And so I really recommend, if you're brand new to lasers, is checking out the xTool S1. It takes the classic diode, which was kind of open and exposed, and it's got a case. It's got a pinpoint accuracy. Lots of features at a much more affordable rate than the more expensive lasers. So it's a great beginner laser if you're just getting into it. And actually, all of these were done with the S1. Now, it can work. This project can be done on other lasers. However, the xTool S1 I think is fantastic. A great choice. You can learn more down below in the description. You can check out my other videos. I have more in-depth videos about the S1 if you're wanting to see, well, what else can it do? But pretty awesome. All right, well, until next time, thanks for watching. Take care.